After my husband passed away, I bought a brand new car to start fresh. The very next day, my son showed up and took my keys. "You don't need this," he told me, with a coldness I'd never seen before. "I'm heading out of town tomorrow with my wife's family, and I can drop you off at an assisted living facility on the way." I was paralyzed. My own son had just told me I no longer had the right to live my own life. Then, as he drove off down the street, in my new car, I sent him a text message. Just 3 words. "Check the glove box." What he saw in there made him stop immediately, slam on the brakes, and realize he had just made the biggest mistake of his life. But for you to understand why I did what I did, I need to tell you the whole story from the beginning. My name is Eleanor, but everyone calls me Ellie. I'm 65 years old. Until 3 months ago, I was married to the love of my life, 40 years together. When he died, I felt like the world stopped turning. Our house became a mausoleum of memories. I was left there in the middle of that deafening silence, wondering what I was supposed to do with the rest of my life. But one morning, as I looked at a photo of us smiling, I heard his voice in my head. He always used to say, "Ellie, as long as there's air in your lungs, there's a reason to keep moving forward. Don't just sit still waiting for life to pass you by. Go out there and live it." And he was right. So I made a decision. I was going to start over. I was going to honor his legacy by truly living. And for that, I needed a car. With the life insurance money and the savings we had set aside, I decided to buy a new car. Nothing luxurious, just something reliable. I went to the dealership and then I saw it. A sleek silver sedan. It was perfect. I got in and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Hope. I signed the paperwork that very day. The car was registered only in my name. Ellie Vance, sole owner. Driving away, I cried from both joy and sadness. I got home and called my son Marcus to share the news. I left him a voicemail. "Honey, I bought a new car. I'm so excited. Come over when you can so you can see it. I love you." I had no idea that the next day, my life would change forever. I didn't know my own son was about to betray me in the worst way imaginable. The next morning, I was in the kitchen when I heard a car pull up. It was Marcus. My heart leaped with joy. He'd come to see me, to see my new car. But when I opened the door, my smile froze. Standing next to him was his wife, Tiffany Price, and neither of them was smiling. There was something in their expressions that made me feel uneasy, as if I were a problem they needed to solve. Marcus walked straight into the kitchen, heading for the new car keys on the counter. "Mom," he finally said without meeting my eyes. "We need to talk." He exchanged a look with Tiffany, who nodded, giving him permission to continue. "You don't need it," he interrupted, cutting off my excited explanation about the car. "You don't need a car, Mom, not at your age. You don't drive as well as you used to. Plus, it's an unnecessary expense." I felt like he had slapped me. "Are you telling me you came here to ask to borrow my car?" I asked. He gave a short, humorless laugh. "I didn't come to ask for anything, Mom. I came to tell you I'm taking it." Before I could react, he grabbed the keys. "Marcus, those are my keys! That's my car!" I screamed. He paused at the threshold and turned to look at me. What I saw in his eyes broke my heart. No love, no respect, only impatience and contempt. "Mom, enough with the drama," he said in a voice so cold. "You don't need this car. You don't need any of this. You're living alone in this huge house, clinging to memories. It's not healthy. What are you saying?" I whispered. "Tiffany and I have been talking," Marcus continued, "and we think it would be better for you to consider moving to a more appropriate place, an assisted living facility. In fact, I can drop you off at one on the way." He was telling me to leave my home, my life, to become a burden. "Mom, don't make this harder than it has to be." He sighed. "We're taking the car. We'll be gone for a week." And with that, he walked out of the house. He got in, started the engine, and drove away with Tiffany in the passenger seat, with my keys, with my car, with my dignity. I stumbled back into the house and sank onto the sofa, crying for the car, for the betrayal, but most of all, for the son I had just lost. I don't know how long I sat there, but then, in the middle of that emotional darkness, something shifted. I felt fury growing in my chest. I remembered something important. I wasn't a foolish old woman. I had lived 65 years and learned a fundamental lesson. You always have to be prepared for the worst. When I bought that car, I was smart. I had noticed small signals. The way Tiffany looked at my house, assessing its value. The way Marcus asked about my savings. So I visited Walter Pierce, a good attorney, and a friend of my late husband. Ellie, he told me, if you have doubts, it's better to be prepared. Prevention is not mistrust, it's intelligence. He helped me prepare a legal arsenal. It included a notarized letter stating the car was registered only in my name. Anyone who took it without my written permission would be committing a felony, grand theft auto, and I had every right to file criminal charges. Walter also attached certified copies of the car's title and my driver's license. But that wasn't all. Walter also helped me prepare an amendment to my will. In the original will, Marcus was the primary heir. In the new will, I removed Marcus completely. My assets would go to charities, organizations that help seniors, and animal shelters. Finally, we prepared a sworn declaration, notarized by Walter, stating, I was in full control of my mental faculties. Any attempt to force me into an assisted living facility against my will would be considered elder abuse and would be legally contested. I put that entire packet of documents, that legal arsenal, into a large manila envelope, and I placed that envelope in the glove box of my new car the day before Marcus came to steal it. Now, sitting on my sofa, I remembered all of it, and a bitter smile appeared on my face. Marcus thought I was weak and easily manipulated, but he was dead wrong. I picked up my cell phone. I knew Marcus must be on the highway now, probably laughing, celebrating how they had just gotten a free new car for their trip. I opened the messaging app. I typed 3 words. Only 3 words. Check the glove box. I hit send. I saw it mark itself as delivered, then as read. 5 minutes passed. 10 minutes. Then my phone vibrated. It was Marcus. He was calling. I didn't answer. I let it ring again and again. 5 consecutive calls. All ignored. I wanted him to feel the powerlessness, the desperation. Finally, he stopped calling, and a text message arrived. Mom, what is this? What does it mean? Call me, please. I didn't reply. Then came the message I had been waiting for. The message that confirmed he had read everything. The message read, Mom, please don't do this. It was a mistake. I'm sorry. We can fix this. Don't call the police, please. I let another 10 minutes pass. Finally, I wrote, return the car to my house. Now. His reply was immediate. I'm 3 hours away. I'm turning around right now. I'll be there as soon as possible. I promise, Mom. I had spent my entire life being gentle, being the perfect mother who always forgave everything. And look where that got me. Treated like something disposable. I went to my room and looked in the mirror. I saw strength. I saw dignity. I saw someone who wasn't going to give up. I changed my clothes, styled my hair, and put on lipstick. I wasn't going to be the shattered woman he had left crying on the sofa. I was going to be the woman who had taken control of her own life. While I waited, I called Walter Pierce. He confirmed that technically, Marcus had committed a felony, and the decision to file a report was entirely mine. At 4:50, I heard the familiar engine sound, my silver car pulling into the driveway. I looked out the window. Marcus was at the wheel. He looked pale, exhausted. Tiffany wasn't with him. He picked up the manila envelope, the documents, from the passenger seat. When I finally opened the door, his eyes were red. He had been crying. I read everything. He finally said, Mom, I didn't know you had all that prepared. And what does that change, Marcus? I asked. The fact that you didn't know there were consequences makes what you did okay? No, of course not. What I did was wrong. Very wrong. I know it. I leaned forward. You were thinking your mother was a foolish old woman you could manipulate, that you could treat like garbage. Marcus started crying openly. No, Mom, no, I love you. It's just that Tiffany said that. Ah, I said. So it was Tiffany's idea. And what are you? A 42-year-old man who can't make his own decisions, who lets his wife control him like a puppet. He had no excuse. He could only tell me he was sorry. A mistake? I repeated. Mistakes are accidental, Marcus. What you did was deliberate. It was planned. You wanted to take my dignity, my independence, my right to live my own life. You wanted to lock me up in a facility as if I were an old piece of furniture you wanted to get rid of. He begged me to let him make it up to me. I asked him where Tiffany was. He admitted he had left her at her parents' house. When she saw that you could send me to jail, that you had changed your will, she got really angry. So she's not upset because she hurt me, I said, nodding. She's upset because she lost the chance to inherit my money. His silence said it all. I reminded him of all my sacrifices, how I had worked 2 jobs so he could have everything. I told him when I was devastated after his father died. He barely called for 3 months, and instead of being happy for me, you came here to steal it. You're not a monster, I told him. You are a man who made bad decisions, a man who let himself be influenced by the wrong person. But you can change if you truly want to. Tell me what I have to do, he asked. First, I said, you need to decide what's more important to you, your wife or your mother. Because as long as you are with Tiffany, as long as she has that influence over you, I cannot trust you. I picked up the envelope from the table. These documents are still valid. The will is still in effect. The report for Grand Theft Auto can be filed at any time within the next year. For now, I won't do anything. But consider it a sword hanging over your head, a reminder that your actions have consequences. He thanked me for not calling the police. Don't thank me yet, I told him, because this is your only chance. If you ever disrespect me again, if you try to manipulate or control me in any way, I will use these documents, and I won't just remove you from my will. I will hold you legally accountable for what you did today. There's one more thing, I added. I want you to go to individual therapy. You need to understand why you allowed this to happen. Why you let Tiffany convince you to treat your own mother this way. He agreed to look for a therapist the next day. And until you've been to at least 6 sessions, until I can see a real change in you, our relationship will be limited. You are not welcome in this house. Not yet. I need to heal from what you did to me. I picked up my keys from the table. These are mine. This car is mine. This house is mine. My life is mine. And nobody, hear me well, nobody is going to take any of that from me ever again. I walked to the door and opened it. Love without respect isn't love, Marcus. Show me respect. Show me you value who I am. And maybe with time we can rebuild what was broken today. He walked out and took a taxi he had waiting. Tiffany had obviously kept their car. I closed the door. I had forgiven too many things in my life. All that forgiveness had only made them think they could keep treating me poorly. But not anymore. This version of Ellie was different. This version knew how to set boundaries. I called Walter. Marcus returned the car. We talked. I set clear boundaries, and he accepted everything. That's called dignity, Walter said softly, and you deserve to feel that way. The next day, I had a visitor. A car was parked in front of my driveway. Tiffany was sitting on my porch steps. She hadn't come to apologize. We need to talk, she replied. About what? I asked. About what you did to Marcus. About how you almost put him in jail over a simple misunderstanding. About how you changed your will to punish us for a mistake. A misunderstanding? I repeated slowly. Is that what you call theft? She snorted. He just borrowed the car, and you turned it into a huge drama. All that over a car. It wasn't just over a car, I said. It was about respect. It was about dignity. She accused me of being selfish for not letting them steal my car. I helped him for 42 years, I said, raising my voice. I fed him, clothed him, paid for his education, and sacrificed my own needs. Do you want me to keep sacrificing until there's nothing left of me? She then went for the cruelest blow. You're bitter. You're lonely and resentful because your husband died, and now you want everyone to suffer with you. Her words hit me, but instead of hurting me, something clicked. I realized she wasn't here for Marcus. She was here for the inheritance she had just lost. I finally saw exactly who she was. "Get off my property," I said in a calm but firm voice. She threatened to stay until we talked. "We already talked," I replied. "Now leave before I call the police for trespassing." "You're crazy," she muttered. "Maybe," I said. "Or maybe I'm finally sane after years of letting people like you walk all over me. Now leave." She threatened that Marcus would have to choose. "Go ahead," I said. "Make him choose. Because something tells me that when Marcus truly thinks about who has been there for him his entire life, and who only showed up when there was something to gain, the decision is going to be easier than you think." She sped out of my driveway. I had just faced Tiffany. I had told her exactly what I thought, and it felt incredible. I had allowed this toxic dynamic to grow to the point where my own son felt he could rob me. That night I made an important decision. No more being agreeable. No more sacrificing my dignity for the illusion of family harmony. The next few days were quiet. I focused on myself, on my own healing. I met my friend Serena Jenkins, who supported me completely. She helped me realize that I needed to find a new version of myself. What is something you always wanted to do but never did because you were too busy taking care of others? She asked. I always wanted to see the ocean at sunrise, I admitted. Then that's what you're going to do, she said. You're going to drive to the coast. You're going to watch the sunrise over the ocean, and you're going to do it for yourself. The idea both scared and excited me, but I knew I needed to prove to myself that I could do it. I booked a small hotel room for Friday night, an ocean view room. For the first time in my life, I was going to spend money on myself without feeling guilty. On Friday morning, I got into my silver car and pulled out of my driveway. The road stretched out before me like a promise. I wasn't running from the memories. I was honoring them by living. I arrived at the hotel in the afternoon. When I walked onto the balcony, the view was breathtaking. The sun was beginning its descent. I stood there, just breathing. And I felt true, deep peace. I had dinner alone, enjoying every bite without worrying about anyone else. I walked along the beach. I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I had set my boundaries. I had defended my dignity, and now I could let go. I woke up at 5 a.m. The beach was deserted. Slowly, the sun began to emerge from the ocean, a ball of orange fire. It was the most beautiful spectacle I had ever seen. Tears rolled down my cheeks, but they were tears of joy, of gratitude, of being alive. I snapped a picture and sent it to Serena. Then I opened my conversation with Marcus. He had sent another message, saying he was in his 3rd therapy session and working on setting the wrong priorities. I wrote my reply. Marcus, I'm at the coast. I came to see the sunrise, and as I sat on the sand watching the sunrise, I realized something. I forgive you. Not because what you did was okay, but because holding on to the anger only hurts me. But you need to understand something. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. Our relationship has changed, and if we want to rebuild it, it will take time. In the meantime, I'm going to keep living my life. I'm going to keep being happy because I deserve that. I love you, but now I also love myself, and that is something I will never negotiate again. I hit send. I didn't know what would happen with Marcus, but I knew I had done the right thing. I had put my needs on the same level as everyone else's. When I arrived home that afternoon, my phone had a message from Marcus. Thank you, Mom. I'm going to show you I can change. And about Tiffany. We need to talk. There are things I need to figure out. It sounded promising. But even if he didn't change, I would be fine. I didn't need my son's approval to be happy. I was enough. I had always been enough. This wasn't my story ending. This was my story beginning a new chapter. A chapter where I was the protagonist. Sometimes justice doesn't come as a great act of revenge. Sometimes it comes quietly. It comes in the form of established boundaries, recovered dignity, and learning to value yourself enough not to let anyone treat you as less than you are. My son took my car, thinking I was weak. And what he found in that glove box wasn't just legal documents. It was the truth. The truth that his mother was stronger than he imagined. This is Ellie. And finally, after 65 years, I learned to live for myself. Did you like my story? Let's meet in the comments. If you like the story, you can support Golden Age Stories by sending a super thanks, so I can keep bringing more stories like this. Thank you so much for your sweet support. Don't forget to subscribe to Golden Age Stories. See you in the next life story. With love and respect.